But yeah, but taking a shift from Xbox over to PlayStation, there was inklings or rumors or whatever of The Last of Us getting an actual remake. So this wouldn't be a remaster that they've done several times already, but getting a remake of this. So we're talking about maybe revamping a little bit of the combat system.
Yeah, this was. It's not.
different things
It's
like
not
that.
like an inkling. It actually is happening.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah. So, how do you guys feel about
Yeah.
Tilo getting a remake?
I'll talk on it first because, as you guys know, I'm not a The Last of Us player.
Mhm.
So when I got my PS5, this was one of the free games that you get in the collection, The Last of Us, remastered, like the upscale PS4 version. So I downloaded it, I played it. It didn't hook me, but just from me playing it for 2 hours, I don't think it needs a PS5 version. It played well. It looked good. So I know this game is more on the story. There's a lot more than just the graphics, and I don't think it needs a PS5 remake. I think the PS4 version is still pretty solid. I know 6 months ago they even released some load time update. They released some patch for it 6 months ago, so it loads even quicker. So I would say, the game is good enough as is, from my perspective.
So this is what I'll say about it. So this was started by a small development team for Sony that doesn't even have a studio name.
Okay.
And it's just always been called Sony.
So it's the Joe Johnstons?
The Joe Johnstons, yeah. It's always just been called Sony's Corporation Visual Arts Service Group.
Uh-huh.
So they just go around, they help with like visuals on all the games throughout the company. That Sony, when Sony needs more resources, they allocate their resources out. So this group came along and they kind of did their own thing, kind of like without really like getting permission in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And they started to remake Last of Us, the original.
Okay.
So this little group was doing this. It wasn't something Naughty Dog was doing.
Right. Which you don't need them. It's kind of like Blue Point, with Demon Souls. Not
Right.
having
You
From
don't
Software.
need From Software to fix this up.
You've already
Right.
given me the base. I'm just juicing it up a bit.
Right.
So
And The Last of Us is Sony's baby, one of their precious babies, right? Like this is like one of their precious
one of their
things.
best selling.
And so
standalone
yeah,
titles.
it's very precious to them, of course, because it's brilliant. And they pulled it away from that little group and they gave it to Naughty Dog to finish.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
A lot of that
crazy.
group dispersed and left. They wanted to make something of their own, right? And so like that's kind of
That wouldn't have been on their own though.
yeah, they were making. Well, it's not their game, but it would have been their project, right?
because they
They're not
started
just
from
going
the,
around and
from the
like
bottom.
helping other projects. It's their project.
Yeah,
This is
I got
their
you.
thing.
Uh-huh.
Like yeah, Blue Point wants to make their own game, but Demon Souls Remake was their project. It wasn't like they were helping From Software just make their own game. It was their project. Here, I'm
Right.
giving you this game. You remake it, and it's just them working together in their room,
Yeah.
fixing the game up. And so they were happy doing this for The Last of Us. Well, Sony pulled it away from them and gave it to Naughty Dog, and so Naughty Dog is now working on that. And this little company, or Visual Arts Service Group, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not a company, but this
Little
little
branch.
group disbanded to a degree. It's kind of not there anymore. Kind of
Hmm.
like with Japan,
Studios.
Japan Studios, so they dispersed that as well.
Mhm.
I don't know. Sony is on this kick of only wanting to produce bangers every single time. So if it's not going to be a banger, they'd rather it be a remake, right? Which is why we're seeing like quite a few remakes right now. God of War remake, right? We saw they like taking what they know is great. There's less risk. But to the point of should there be one, I will say this. I think, in my opinion, there's a huge leap in fidelity from Last of Us 2 over Last of Us 1. It's weird. It's only one console generation. So, like, I get the argument, like, this isn't a very old game. Like, God of War was a PS2 game. So I get why it's time for a remake of this game,
for sure.
right? It's been 20 years, right? But The Last of Us hasn't been as long. And so I get why because lots of people who agree with you who are just like, nah, we don't need this. I think you're one of them too, right? You don't even think we need a remake on this game.
I've got a different opinion about remakes, but I'll let you finish.
Yeah, so I'll just say this. To me, The Last of Us 2 is like a huge fidelity leap. I don't know. When I played that, my mouth just dropped on how incredible it is. And whenever I go back and see footage or play The Last of Us original, it looks a little grainy. It doesn't look as clear. It's just not quite as detailed.
You playing in standard instead of HD.
Yeah, you're playing in standard, and it's just like I would be pumped if they did to Demon Souls what they did to Demon Souls, they did to The Last of Us. That would be worth it to me, because that was a huge fidelity leap, even though it's one generation. Like, so I know you haven't played it, but if you ever like stopped and played The Last of Us 2, and then you go back to play The Last of Us 1, you see like all of its imperfections. And so,
but let me ask you,
I would be excited.
Let me ask you this: would you rather buy The Last of Us remake, which you said it has the fidelity of The Last of Us 2, or would you rather buy The Last of Us 3?
I would rather buy The Last of Us 3. However, it just depends, because I don't know how much resources they're throwing at it. If this little small 15, 20-man visual arts group was going to do it, then I don't really know how much it's going. So it depends on the cost. If it's going to be costly and like it puts The Last of Us 3 3 years behind, then I don't want it. But if it's just like a little side project that they're capable of doing and it's not really going to pull too many resources, then I would be happy to play it. It just really depends, honestly. I don't
Plus,
know
we don't know how much work the previous group did.
And we don't know how much work
What
the
if they
previous
did
group
like
did.
80,
Yeah, great
90%,
point.
and then now Naughty Dog just polishes, all right, let's see what they did. No,
which
we want
sucks
this.
for that
It
little
could have been
group,
indiv-
because
yeah,
they
that was
they
their
would have
baby,
gotten
yeah.
credit for it. You
Yeah.
know, like Bluepoint got credit for doing Demon Souls.
Yeah.
But like for remakes, man, I'm kind of like iffy on them, because like ultimately, right? These games, the great games that they are, that get remade, they get remade for a reason, because they're great. But the fact of the matter is that when they came out, it was a great game for that time. So why wouldn't you leave it in that time and then just keep progressing forward with the story in that IP or whatever? You know, Demon Souls, yes, I bought the remake, and it's a great game. Both of them are. But would I have rather them have given me a newer Demon Souls or something like that? Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, Bluepoint, as we keep saying, was the ones who remade Demon Souls. They didn't actually get From Software to spend their time to remake Demon Souls. So it's okay. But like, also, some of these remakes, man, they're not giving them enough time. Like, okay, The Last of Us came out on, I don't even know if it came out on the PS2.
It was
PS3.
So
At
PS3.
the last,
yeah,
year.
so
last game.
that was in 2013 when that released. So throughout this time, they've remastered this bitch. Like, it's on the PS4. And it'll play on the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
So why do I need a whole remake of it? Like, Demon Souls was made in 2009. It's a long ass time for that game. I could see you trying to pull out a remake of that one, because it's old as shit. You know what I mean? And it's strictly on the PS3. I mean, maybe did they come out with like a remastered version of Demon Souls? Right? Because they haven't touched Demon
Strictly
Souls.
PS3.
Dark Souls has been the one getting remastered every freaking 6 months or whatever. You know, they remastering that bitch. But like, I felt like the Demon Souls, it's been so long that I've forgotten what I did in it. So like, if I bought it, then it's like a whole new game for me. But The Last of Us, like, that shit was just out. You know what I mean? Like 2 years ago, it just came out remastered. So it just seems like they're trying to, it's like movies, right? They'll take like a good movie or whatever, and then they just keep remaking that motherfucker. Like, how many times we gonna remake Spider-Man? You know what I mean? Like,
Forever.
you're going to keep switching out the Spider-Mans and just keep remaking the origin story. I don't want to see that shit. I want to see a new storyline. I don't want to keep seeing the origin.
Keep watching it, though.
But people will keep watching it. I'm going to keep watching it because it's a new movie. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's just like, damn, I really wanted a new storyline. I didn't want to see another origin story. You know what I mean? So it's just that type of stuff. Like, I just feel like...
But imagine this. Let me just pose this question to you. What if the studio that had made the new Spider-Man invented something totally new? You never heard of it before. Was that something you would go see? You might not. Like, you might, or you might not. It depends on what it is, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, but you will go see Spider-Man. Even if it is a remake, even if it's another origin story, like, you will go see it because it's Spider-Man. Right? So it's like, it's hard to say for certain what I would want. I can say right now, yeah, I want something new. I want something new and nice and shiny, right? But I may not, because it's hard to predict what people want. And so, but they know that I want Spider-Man. And so I'm going to be happy to get Spider-Man. I may even be happy to get a Spider-Man origin story over that new shiny thing if it's junk. If that new shiny thing wasn't good, then I may actually would have preferred, man, I would have rather them just made a Spider-Man origin story. And so that's the challenge and that's the difficulty.
Right, but like at the same time, right? So we're talking about like some small schmigiggins group that's part of Sony or whatever that was making this remake or whatever. They're trying to do something on their own or whatever. Now Rockstar, or not Rockstar, but Naughty Dog takes it and now they're putting their stamp on it, doing what they do. But if you had, let's just say that this schmigiggins group just decided to take the bones of T-Lu, like, hey, let me hold this. We're going to make a whole new game, but we're going to use it off the bones of T-Lu. If you told me that this was helped with people who worked on Naughty Dog or something like that, that's how you spinning it and selling it to me, we gonna get the shit. It's fucking Naughty Dog. You know what I mean? Like, if you told me Naughty Dog had a hand in some of this, they didn't do it all, but they had a hand in some of it, which is true. They ghost wrote. They wrote a few bars. I spit the bars. You ghost wrote for me. You had your hand in it.
Do anything, though.
But well, I mean, your past
You
work,
just took the engine.
your past work or whatever. Engine, maybe you use some of the like the physics and stuff like that.
Would I have
in
trusted
T-Lu? Something like
Bluepoint
that.
though, like to make a whole new Demon Souls? That's the thing. What made Demon Souls was that it was made by From Software, and that I can't remember his name, but the guy who basically started From Software.
Yeah.
It's his mind. It's
Right.
his invention. Could I have trusted someone else? No, because it came from him. Like, yeah, maybe, but it's so rare that it might work that I don't know. I would have, if I had known. I don't even know if like that little ploy would convince me to spend money on it.
So if they took like the bones of Demon Souls, but they just gave it to you in some different scenario. Maybe they made like a real medieval game that didn't have like, the dark aspect. It was medieval, but it was something else that they used, and they figured out how to use something else, currency for souls or whatever, just using money or something like that. But if you found out that they were using some of the stuff from Demon Souls or whatever, you wouldn't.
The one thing I'll say to this is Demon Souls is a little different than Last of Us, only in the sense that Demon Souls isn't really about its story.
It's about its gameplay.
It's about the visuals and the gameplay. And so if you're stealing the engine or the gameplay and just peppering in a new storyline, so it's different in that regard and like a different world, then yeah, I probably would want to play it because I love those types of games. But what made The Last of Us great was the story, was the writing, right? The characters that were dreamed up. That's what made it great, not necessarily like the bones of the world. So it just really depends.
If those people had just got the writers from Naughty Dog to come over,
that would
help
be a big
them
one.
write a game.
That would be a huge one.
So they make the game.
That'd be a big
one.
But
the story is from
would
Naughty
be
Dog.
That would be convincing.
You rocking
for
with
me.
that?
Yeah, that'd be convincing to me.
I just feel like it's
if
other
you just
things that they could do.
if you just
with
handed that team, that little Schmigiggins group, that bones, I don't think I would trust them to make a good game.
Yeah, I know for me, at the end of the day, Sony's a business. So, like you're saying, bangers, they have a recipe file, or they have a files of all their banger recipes. They just pull one, this recipe is a banger. They'll keep remaking that recipe over and over until the end of time.
It's like Spider-Man, till the end of time.
Everyone does it. Nintendo does it. Everyone does it. When you have a recipe that works, The Last of Us, keep remaking it. Keep remaking the recipe with. Now you're using different ingredient, different quality ingredients now, higher quality ingredients. Recipe will always be better. So,
Right.
And I feel like they had that. Naughty Dog started their recipe with Uncharted. You know what I mean? And they just improved off of Uncharted to make The Last of Us. So
the Schmigiggins group wanted to do Uncharted. And Uncharted's quite a bit older.
It's really. I wonder
it's still
how
a
old it
PS3
is.
game, but it came out towards the beginning of the PS3.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that one's getting to be old. And I guess that one was too old
It was too old.
This McGiggins group or whatever they didn't feel comfortable.
2007.
Yeah, see, they didn't feel capable enough to modernize that. They felt more capable to modernize Last of Us than Uncharted.
I can see that.
If
It
Blue
would
Point
take
could
more
do,
resources, more effort,
Oh.
and so they just weren't comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
They were more comfortable doing The Last of Us. I don't like that they handed it back to Naughty Dog, though. I would have rather just some group that takes no resources from Naughty Dog to do it, like the Blue Point thing.
or
Like,
why didn't you just?
I'm cool with that.
Why didn't you just put more people from Naughty Dog in with the group and let them continue?
Yeah,
it?
light resources. I
Yeah.
mean, very light resources.
Yeah,
As
I would have
long
been
as it's
cool
light
with them
resources.
taking this little Giggins group and bringing the good people to Naughty Dog and be like, all right, keep working on it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You know what I
too.
mean?
Just incorporate those guys into Naughty Dog. and let
Meld
them
both
work.
companies.
I'm cool
together
with
or
that.
Have
something.
some consultation. Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
director
with like
there, they
the
can consult
OG
with you at
people.
least. Yeah.
Say, hey,
They
you
can at
know,
least
what's your
consult.
Use
Yeah,
their-
they're not
use Naughty
actually
Dog's
spending time, but, like,
resources and whatnot.
consultant.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been a great idea. But they just gave it right to Naughty Dog.
Yeah, that sucks. I would be jaded too. Like I would probably
be
be
jaded,
too.
man.
I'd be like, man, you guys ain't got no faith in us. Like we
I
literally
would
took this
totally
and we
be
started
jaded.
this on our own volition.
And it's like kind
And
of like
now
what
you
you were
guys
saying to a
dip.
degree, that it almost can't fail because people love as long as it's Last of Us, as long as it's that, it almost can't fail, right? Like, just let us remake it. It's The Last of Us.
We already got the story.
Yeah, we got everything. The story's there.
All we can
We're
do
good.
is change how the gameplay was. But the
And I
story
will
is all
agree
there.
that this one is fairly fresh baked, recently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you go back and remake Demon Souls, you have a lot of new people who haven't played it yet. Or
Right.
you go back
lot.
and make God of War. You have
I
a
think
lot of
if you
people
went
haven't
back
played
and
it
made
yet.
Uncharted, that would have been a
Uncharted
big
2
thing
is
too.
probably old enough, but The Last of Us is still a little fresh.
It's on the cusp. It's like,
Yeah, it's on the cusp of being
especially
cheap.
when they just gave it to us for free on the PlayStation 5
Yeah.
collection. It's like,
Yeah.
we got it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I would
Also-
agree with you. Like, it's in a good enough state to play right now if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But people like me, like who,
Because you love it.
yeah,
Just like
so
for
I
me
would
for
want-
Diablo
yeah,
2.
exactly.
You know?
Right.
It's like, I'm going to love this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So keep remaking
Yeah.
it, please, till the end
Yes.
of my
Yeah.
days.
Exactly.
Because you
I
like
get
it.
the remakes. It's just that sometimes you run shit into the ground. And like
Yeah.
I feel like The Last of Us in general has just been ran into the ground as many times as it's been done. Like the remasters, like this and that, you know what I mean? Like they've done it so many times within a short period of time that it's just like, damn, like let that shit breathe. Just give it its own time and then move on to something else. Even if you got to take another year or two to announce some shit, just leave it the fuck alone, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like you got other things you could do, you know?
Or just
Yeah.
let that Schmiggins group work on it.
But
man.
I do think that one-offs would probably be a better time for them to spend remaking. Like if you did like Dante's Inferno, that's a one-off. Remake that. You know what I mean? Like you could probably make it a lot better. It would look a lot better, a lot more gruesome. It probably draw some more
I don't know
people
if it was
in.
popular enough, but yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't think it was
I know
that
what
popular,
you mean.
but
You're
I'm
just using it as
saying,
an
you know,
example.
yeah.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
use some like a one-off, like Demon Souls was a
Demon
good
Souls was a
one-off.
Yeah.
It wasn't that popular because we saw how many sales it got, but it was enough to get that man his own room and start something
I
with
guess
Dark
by popular
Souls.
I mean is highly regarded.
Yeah.
Like Dante's Inferno was probably like a 7 or an 8. Where Demon Souls was
I
a
thought
9.
Dante's Inferno was a good game, and it
Yeah,
was also
good,
like
but it wasn't like a masterpiece. Like,
no,
like
no.
Demon Souls was.
It was like a consolation prize for no God of War.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's Dante's
Yeah.
Inferno, but
I
I
enjoyed
feel
Dante's
that
Inferno.
you could take a lot of the stuff from like
It's a classic story.
these games
Yeah, it's a
now,
classic
and then
story
put them
too.
into Dante's
Yeah.
Inferno and make it, make its gameplay better. You know what I mean?
I love you,